Welcome back to the Happy Hour. Kelly and I are now joined by our favorite attorney that we both know.
Yes.
We don't know other ones out there, so
Yeah,
Steve Moskowitz.
only one we know.
You don't need to.
Okay, that's what it is. So I don't want to know anyone else.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right,
and
so-
he's playing hurt. Torn
Yeah.
ACL here. Still made it to
Hey,
the
I'm
show.
tough.
Yeah,
That's an athlete right
Thank
there.
yeah. I would have just stayed home, but you,
No. I don't want to miss the show. Show must go
you
on.
play through it. Okay, so Mark Cuban, owner of the Mavs, he's in hot water right now. So there was an article released by Sports Illustrated that said that the Mavs culture, their whole company, was a culture of misogyny, predatory sexual behavior. It was just, it was a very revealing and overall just a sad thing to hear about this Mavericks team that's been going on for so long. Now, this culture was all, it started just before Cuban took over, but it happened throughout all of Cuban's tenure. The president of the team was many times reported for doing very bad behavior.
Sexual harassment.
Exactly. There's a reporter from Mavericks.com that had 2 domestic violence arrests go on his record, one while he was with the team. So the question is, and Mark Cuban did say it's on him that he was responsible for not firing this guy early on. But at what point is Mark Cuban actually liable for any sexual behavior or all this the bad things that are happening at his company? When is he?
There's something called respondeat superior, which means essentially in this case, when he knew about it or should have known about it. So if somebody cornered somebody else and he had no knowledge of it, he can't be responsible for that. But if somebody came to him and said, you know, look, Mr. Smith did this to me, he said, oh, you know, it's your fault, you know, you made him do that. That's when the liability starts ticking. It's when he knew or should have known.
Yeah, in regards to the Mavs.com reporter who was fired before this story came out, 2 domestic assault. The second one was with a living girlfriend who worked for the Mavs and showed up to work with her face swollen. So that's 2 police reports that you know about that Cuban said he didn't bother to read and he didn't look into it enough. So he put this guy back into an environment where other female employers were perhaps scared of him, worried about him. The president continued to harass him at the time. How many of these women then also left their jobs because they couldn't take it anymore, maybe lost their careers because of it?
Or
How
had
many
all
of
kinds
these,
of emotional damage.
Yeah, and emotional damage. How many of these women can they go after Cuban? Because he's the owner. He's the guy in charge.
Perhaps, and if they do, he's probably going to make a bunch of settlements. So what he's doing is he's trying to cut his losses. We say, look, mea culpa, and things have changed. And then in the back, you take a look at, well, how much did he know? What did he do? How did it affect it? For example, if he didn't read the reports, somebody could have done something that had nothing to do with workplace.
And that's on him. I mean, and he has lawyers, too, that should be looking at
lots of them.
informing him of what's going on with one of his employees.
Well, also in a big company, you have lawyers, but in theory, you have levels behind you. Say, look, I was watching this is wrong, you have to change that, so-and-so is endangered, this could be a problem.
All right, the other story, Winter Olympics. Obviously, we've been all watching it on NBC Sports, including last night's gold medal game. The American women hockey team, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But these athletes that are bringing home the hardware, whether it's gold, silver, bronze, do they actually have to pay taxes on these medals, and how is the value determined?
Now we're getting to my
Yes.
favorite.
Woo, here we go.
Now I'm
Let's
getting
go.
really excited.
Let's do this.
And what happens is the Congress used to go ahead and exempt the income specifically for an Olympics. Then they went ahead and changed the law permanently. So if you make less than $1 million a year,
Which is all these ladies, yeah.
your awards are tax-free. Good news.
Finally,
Steve brings
good
good
So I
tax
should
news.
keep I should claim my gold medal after all. Well, actually, no.
Well, I don't know. You're
well
over
$1
$1
million.
million,
Yeah. So how about this? So NBA players, they get taxed based on where the game is when they get played, in what state, right? For people that make over $1 million that are going to tax on their awards, does it matter where they're
now
playing?
with a basketball player, it doesn't matter how much he's making. The Olympics is a very
Yes,
special
correct.
law.
Yeah, so in each state that they play in, that's the tax code that for that game, their game check will be based on that. How about for these Olympians that if they get an award that is in another country, do they get a change in taxes based on that, or is it just tax based on American?
Americans are based on worldwide income. So if he was over there and he endorsed some skis and he made some money, then he'd have to pay tax on that. So what happens is everything is income unless the Congress in their infinite wisdom exempts it. Here, they exempted the Olympics, but everything else would be taxable. And what happens is a lot of the states don't follow that. So you may have a situation where you don't have to pay federal taxes, but you have to pay state taxes depending on what state you're in. Or some states don't have a tax at all.
So if you're one of these Olympians, like maybe a Lindsey Vonn or Shaun White, where you do actually make more than $1 million and you get a gold medal, are you being taxed by where you live when you come back, like California taxes? Is it a federal tax? I mean, are some Olympians paying more taxes on their medal than others because of where they live?
Absolutely. So you pay, if you're making over the mill, you're paying federal taxes. And then if you're state taxes, you'd pay the state. So suppose two Olympians come back. One lives in California, one lives in Texas. Texas doesn't have a state income tax, so he or she pays 0, but the one in California pays 13.3%.
Robbed.
Robbed indeed.
California's just robbing our Olympians.
Well, not only that, California has the highest taxes.
I know.
California
I learned the
loves
hard way.
tax.
I moved here from Texas. Steve Moskowitz, always good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Heal up. Rest
Thank you.
up. Get better. All right. That'll do it for our legal segment. Coming up next, we are talking about the ladies. Did you watch this last night? I know I was watching it, and my dog was a little concerned because I was crazy.